Okay, so as I mentioned, tonight's presentation is titled The Manual of Stocks. We'll also be covering the 30-year financials. If you have any questions, feel free just to type those in and we'll address those as we go along. Now, when it comes to the Manual of Stocks, what this is essentially an old school version of stock research, right? So if you look back at Buffett and Graham and these, legends of yesteryear, they didn't have the internet, they didn't have computers. They literally had to scroll page by page through these old Moody's manuals and other stock market manuals to find this information. So they said they had to dig to find stocks. They literally had to do that. Now what the manual of stocks does is give you comprehensive summaries of these companies, and it's kind of a full single sheet analysis, right? You're getting all the main metrics, all the broad picture outlook of a company on a single sheet of paper that you can download, view on your PC or tablet, computer, or print it out and go through it, at home in your own time. Now, everything covered in the manual of stocks is essentially a trimmed down version of everything you'll find on the GuruFocus website. So we're looking at the reliability score of the company, financial ratios, a full price analysis that's going to mean, where is it trading relative to the Graham number, relative to, the Peter Lynch value, that kind of thing. A full dividend summary, obviously a chart of that equity. 10 years of financials will be shown on this manual. You'll see the strength and profitability of the company, revenue, profit, other growth rates. You'll see the last few Guru trades. So if some large fund managers recently made purchases or sales, that will be shown on the manual as well. Warning signs for the company, and these are obviously proprietary formulas to GuruFocus that show any traditional warning signs that you that should give you pause, right? So it's looking at their margins are decreasing, or sales are going down, or their debt is skyrocketing, something like that. You'll see insider trades. So it could be any C-level executive or 10% owner buying or selling that stock, and then obviously a competitor summary down at the bottom. So if you're looking at Google, it may show you what Yahoo and Apple and a few other tech stocks in that sector, how they stack up to your company and a few of the key metrics. And we'll show you this in live in just a moment. Now you can also do something called custom stock manuals. So, there are, let's ballpark it, somewhere around 6,000 publicly traded companies. And if you include, pink sheets, over the counter, all this stuff, maybe even bigger number. So, you may not want to print out 6,000 pages, right? So you have a few options to create manuals just covering the equities you want to look at. One of the easiest is just the S&P 500, right? It's going to be the largest 500 U.S. companies. You can also trim the list down or make a custom list based on sector or region. So if you just want to look at technology companies, or you just want to look at, Canadian industrial stocks, you could do that. You can filter by country and or market cap. Pretty self-explanatory with those two. And you can also run a custom manual of just the OTC market. And if you're not familiar, it stands for over-the-counter. So it's stocks that don't trade on the New York Stock Exchange or the NASDAQ exchange. They tend to be smaller companies, more thinly traded. But these are, when you hear someone say you got to turn over a lot of rocks to find these good investments, generally that's where you're going to find those. These smaller, lesser known, lesser followed equities can be where you can find some deals in the market. So when we look at the manual of stocks, there are two ways for you to view this information. The first is the web app, and basically what that's just going to be is another web page, right? You can see it right there as if you're surfing the internet. The other option is to download it. So whether you're looking at one company or 500, you can download that file as a PDF, save it, email it to someone, and view it anytime. Now, this is what that web app looks like, right? So you're seeing kind of a full screenshot of what my laptop looked like. But if you looked at the Apple manual of stocks on the web app, notice what you're getting is, it's just a web page, and you see it, see the URL up here, and you can scroll through it that way. Now, when you do this on the web app, you'll notice these arrows to the left and right side. And what those arrows will do, if you're looking at multiple stocks, let's say you went to look at the S&P 500 online, that's kind of a turn the page, like a digital turn the page. You can scroll through to the other stocks. Now, if on the other hand you download it, okay, I'm getting a lot of people saying they don't have visual. Let me try something really quickly. That fix it? Okay, sorry about that, guys. Don't know why you're seeing the wrong screen. So, to give you an idea, let's go back. This is what the manual of stocks will look like online. Okay, notice it's a web address there. You get these arrows on the screen on the left and right side, and those are what you're going to use to kind of turn the page and scroll through each stock, right? Now, if you download it, you'll get this, which is an actual PDF file. And this is on a Mac. If you run a PC or something different, it may look different to you. But you'll see up there at the top, now this is the S&P 500. So it is a 500, well, technically 504 page PDF. So each stock gets one page, and there's a couple of intro pages at the beginning. All right, so it is a decent sized file. So let's go to the market. Let's go to the GuruFocus webpage, and we'll take a look at what this looks like in the real world. So when you are on the GuruFocus homepage, there's a couple of ways to go about it. The first is just simply typing in manual of stocks. The search bar on GuruFocus is one of the best you'll see. I notice as soon as I start typing manual, one of the options is download the manual of stocks. Okay, and this is going to bring us to sort of the main page. There's a great quote from Buffett here. He was quoted once saying he could return 50% a year if he only had a small amount of money. And the way to do that is to find those companies that are way off the map, right? And that's kind of the idea that inspired Charlie to create this manual of stocks. So a couple of ways to do this, right? We covered this briefly. The first thing is you can simply type in ticker names right here and either download or view them on the web app. So if you have, a list of stocks in your personal portfolio you want to pull, you can do it that way. Then there's a few easy buttons over here. The S&P 500 right here, and I'll show you what this looks like. If we click the web app, as I mentioned, it just takes you to a page, and we have the full manual of stocks for all 500. So this is one, and then if I use the little arrow, notice there's American Airlines, there's Advanced Auto Parts, they're going to be in alphabetical order. Apple based on ticker symbol, and you can just scroll through them all that way. So that's what the web app looks like. That's the S&P 500. You can also download it. So if we click download, this is the file just downloaded to my computer. So it is the GuruFocus manual of stocks for the S&P 500 as of May. Quick little overview of what you're going to get here, a glossary of some of the big terms you'll see, and then it just starts. So, page 3 or 4 here with the stocks. You could scroll through, you could fast forward, to jump to a page. But that's what the downloaded file looks like. Now, as I mentioned, you can also do this by sector and or region. So, for instance, if we want to find real estate stocks, or I'm interested in finding, some good energy companies that don't have mountains of debt and might turn around when oil comes up a little bit, right? You could do energy stocks. Maybe you want Canadian energy stocks. You see the size of that file immediately here. Notice the size, 9.4 megs. Shows you the size of the file if you decide to download it. And you can simply click web app, And here are Canadian energy companies. You can scroll through these, you could print this file, you could download it as a PDF. The options are endless there. And we can also do this by country. So, primarily we have obviously more users in the US and other countries, but if you're native to a different country looking to invest in a different country or region, you can choose that and then filter it further by market cap if you'd like. So for instance, if you're looking for little known stocks, you're trying to find something that's trading at a low earnings multiple and is close to book value and consistent earner, you're not going to find that in the S&P 500. You're just not. You're not going to find a top caliber stock trading at 10 times earnings near book with consistently growing revenue and profit. So you may be, well, let me look at the micro caps, okay, and I'll see what I can find there. And then the final option is the OTC markets. This is going to be all of the over-the-counter stocks. You can download this or view it as a web app. We'll see what the download looks like and how big it is. This is a big one. So you see up here at the top, it says 1,451 pages. Okay, so that's going to use a lot of printer ink. You decide to print it out, right? But it's an option to you. You may just choose to do it manually on your computer instead of printing that out. But lots of good options there. Now, the other way to go about this is simply on an individual company. So let's say we're looking at General Electric. Okay, and we're on the summary page here of GE. Notice here across the top, if you can see it, let me highlight this for you. One of your options now is for Manual of Stocks web app and the regular Manual of Stocks download. It's going to be on any company you come across here on the GuruFocus website. And what you can do is simply click on that and it will take you directly to the manual for that company. It's going to take a second to load here. This is the web app version. You could also download it if you prefer. So that's a direct link there. You could obviously hit the one to the right and it will download it to your PC if you'd rather do that. So let's look at the manual of stocks and see what all is covered. Okay, so Bruce asked, can you show us how to select multiple market caps in the sector? I can. Give me just a moment. I'm going to show you how to do that. Good question, Bruce. So let's cover the manual of stocks itself. I'll show you how to find a customized list of it, and then we'll go on to some other topics here in just a moment. So the manual of stocks, obviously, is fairly small on your screen if you can't see some of it, but obviously you can go to these on your own and kind of view these, increase the font size on your own to take a closer look at some of these things. But first off, get the name of the company, the ticker symbol here. We have a predictability ranking, up there from 1 to 5 stars. We have the market cap and a brief little summary of what this company is, right? We know what General Electric is, but if you're looking at, Ted's Nanoconductor Corp, you may want to see the summary. Now, we get a quick rundown of some of the main ratios that a lot of us use: the PE, the forward PE, price to book, price to sales, price to free cash flow, the Shiller PE, and the PEG. We also get some quick price valuation analysis here. So, where would the price be at its median price per sales, at tangible book, at net current asset value? And then we have a dividend section here. Obviously, if it's a non-dividend stock, there won't be anything. But you can quickly see, hey, what's the yield? What is it going forward? How safe is it? What percentage are they using to pay that out? Now, below that, we have a stock chart. You'll see an as of date. So in the future, if you're looking at this, you'll know when you downloaded this and how accurate this data is. These go back about 10 years, so you see the price action of the stock, 1 week, 1 month, 3 months, all these gains here on the right versus the S&P 500, and then also the trading volume here across the bottom. Marion, I believe it is log scale on the chart, yeah, because these don't really accurately reflect. The one tough thing about these charts is they kind of start midway. You know, the stock chart kind of starts right there, and then the volume is almost a separate chart. A lot of you may be used to seeing volume overlaid. This is actually two charts on top of one another, which is why it looks that way. You'll notice these figures over here, 270 million, 130 million, right? Those are volume numbers for that chart. And then, you know, 17, 42, 6, these are price numbers for the chart up here. Now, across the left side, we have a few other things, and again, these are common metrics you're used to seeing on the GuruFocus site. We've got a financial strength summary, where it's cash to debt ratio, F score, interest coverage, that kind of thing. Profitability score. Charlie's done a great job of giving these kind of 1 to 10 scores so that you can quickly go to each section, see is this a healthy company or non-healthy company. All of our growth rates over here, revenue, EBITDA, earnings per share, 1, 5, and 10 year. And then below that, we have really all the financial data below the chart. Now down the left side, we've got you know, quarterly data. As I mentioned before, we've got the Guru trades. Generally, is going to give you like the last 5 to 10 Guru trades on this stock. You know, big warning signs below that. So in this case, in GE's case, we're seeing revenue per share declining. We're seeing the gross margins come down, operating margins down. So something you want to look at a little closer. It also has some good signs, right? They're close to its 1-year low, the price to book ratio in this case. Yeah, Adam, return on equity is there. Now below the chart, we have 10 years of financial data. Unlike what you see on the website where the labels are on the left side, on the manual of stocks, the labels are on the right. It's made a little cleaner. So you're seeing all the labels for the information over here, and then the data starting in 07 to current year. And it's broken down same way as the website is, right? Stock performance at top, the per share data next. You got the income statement, the balance sheet, and the cash flow statement. Now, it may not have quite as many line items as some of the things you're used to seeing. Again, the idea is to get you a summary of all the big data onto one sheet. So income balance, cash flow statement. Below at the bottom side on the left, we also have insider trades. Same idea as the Guru trades. Going to give you the last 5 or so. If you see any, you know, large, massive purchases from several insiders, might be a good sign for you. And then below all the 30-year financial data, we have sort of a competitor summary, right? So in GE's case, its main competitors 3M, Siemens, Honeywell, and ABB, and it's comparing some of the key metrics that people would use to evaluate these companies, right? So how big is it in comparison with the profitability and financial strength scores, you know, the price to sales ratio, the PE ratio, margins, return on asset, return on equity here on the right. It's just a really quick flash of the pan summary and comparison of the company you're looking at versus its major competitors. Does this all make sense? Everyone understanding how to kind of view this and how to look at it? Again, you know, you got to kind of imagine having a lot of these and kind of scrolling through on your own. You know, if you're looking at the S&P 500, there's not going to be a lot of shockers to you, right? If you're looking at the over-the-counter stocks or nano caps, this is going to be very informative. You're going to be learning about companies you otherwise would not have. That's kind of the idea, is how many rocks can you turn over? Now, one of the questions I got earlier was, can you put together basically a custom manual of stocks with multiple market caps from one section. Okay, and I want to show you how to do that and a lot more, because you can use the all-in-one screener to build a customized list of stocks that you can create a manual from. So if we go to at the top, hover over screeners, the famous all-in-one screener, everyone knows, the best fundamental screener out there anywhere. And you can put in any calibrations you want, right? So for instance, if we were looking for chemical companies and he wanted, multiple market caps, he may want them from 100 million up to 20 billion, say. And he wants them, let's just say, with a return on equity of at least, 4%. He's looking at, let's see, say price to book ratio of no more than 2. And let's see what we get here. So we got a list of 22 stocks. All right, does everyone see that? The 22 companies. Most people know how to use the all-in-one screener at this point, but just in case it's new to you. So from there, we scroll down to the bottom, and you'll notice those same 2 buttons that we've added to each of the stocks, and that is the Manual of Stocks web app and the Download Manual of Stocks. So what this is going to do is create that manual just of these companies that met your filters. So let's go to the web app here. Now it's pretty quick. So here we've got the 22 companies. So the first one, Asahi Kasei, I guess. Over-the-counter pink sheet stock, right? One you would normally come across. Small market cap of just, maybe not that small. But you quickly see a summary of this stock, its major competitors, everything we covered previously. And all we have to do is click these arrows to scroll through the other stocks from our scanner list. So we click this arrow to go to the right, and we're on to the next stock. On to the next stock, right? So we can just quickly scroll through these. And you can use the left arrow to go back one. But it's really nice because it's automatic downloads all the data current up to the opening of the current day, right? Up to the opening, in this case, June 14th, 2017. Now you could also download this as we discussed earlier, right? Using the download button, you'll get the full PDF. We have 22 some odd pages, one for each stock, and you can print it out or scroll through it on your iPad, whatever makes easiest for you. All right. Mitch, I'm not sure your question. What is the PF's screener? Not sure what you mean by that. That's a pretty quick rundown of the manual stocks. That makes sense to everyone. Everyone understand how to use it. Again, it's kind of a tip of the hat to the Buffetts and the Grahams and the old world of investing. People who like doing old-fashioned homework and really digging into companies on an individual basis without relying too much on technology. So 2 questions I've got here. One, can manual stocks be created only from symbols? Yes, it can. There's 2 ways to do that. You can either come here to the screener, put in your list of, let's see, let's start all over. Up here at the top, you can just simply list all of your stocks, get a list of them, and then go down here to Manual of Stocks. The other way is to go to the main Manual of Stocks page and just simply put them in right here. Whoops. And you'll want to let it autofill each one. you'll click there, it'll take you to a web app of all the ones you've got listed. So that's how you do it if you have a list of tickers you want to view. The other question is how often and when is the data updated? Adam, the individual stock data, like you're seeing here, is updated daily, right? So if you'll notice, you're seeing as of 6/14/2017. So as of this open or yesterday's close, this data is accurate. When it comes to the larger ones like the S&P 500, generally once a month that manual is updated to reflect new information. So when we looked at the S&P 500 PDF, and I'll bring it back up here, notice at the top it says May 2017. And you'll see, probably any day, maybe when it says June 2017. Mitch, the Petrovsky F score is a metric from an old economist or professor named Petrovsky that looks at how safe a company is and what kind of financial shape they're in. I'll show you how to find out more about that in just a second. Okay, so that's the manual of stocks. Let's look for a minute at 30-year financial data, because this is also a new addition for us. I'll stick with GE. It's an old, easy company. Now, traditionally, GuruFocus showed 10 years of financial data, and it's been that way for years. At this point, if available, if the company's old enough, we now have 15 years of historical data right here on the main page. Okay, so if we're looking at, this is General Electric, for instance. Notice this data goes back from 2002 all the way out of the trailing 12 months, which takes us to 2017. So 15 full years of data here. And you also now can get a full 30 years. So to get the 30 years, you have two options. One is simply to download that data. You'll notice the big orange button right here that says 30-year financial download. All you're going to do is click that, and you'll get a batch download sheet. Okay, so if there's multiple stocks you want to look at, let's say Procter & Gamble, Johnson & Johnson, let's put some big ones in here, Deere, right, and then click the download button. And it's going to download us an Excel file, XLS or CSV, depending on what software you use to open it. Now, every once in a while, just so you guys know, on the GuruFocus site, if you try to, let's say, download 6,000 data on 6,000 stocks or something really, really huge, sometimes you'll get a pop-up that says, we're emailing you a link. Okay, it's easier to do it this way. As long as you're logged into GuruFocus, it'll email you a link as soon as that data is compiled. You click that and you can download it from that source. In our case, we're just looking at these 4 stocks. Here's what that download looks like. So again, this is raw data. Now, this isn't something that's fun to look at visually like the website. This is for power users, power analysts who really want to dig in deep to this data. You want to plug it into something you've got or analyze it in some other way. But you'll notice here, this goes back, if you can see, I know it's small, all the way back to December of 1987. So 30 full years of data for these stocks. It's everything you're seeing on the web page, just in raw format, right? So it starts at the top with the, all the per shared metrics up here, the valuation metrics below that. Keep scrolling. We've got the income statement. Starts with the revenue, R&D, all that kind of stuff there, ending with net income. Below that, the balance sheet, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? All the same data that you're seeing right here in the same order, just twice as much, going back 30 years instead of 15. So there's a few ways you can kind of look at this. For one, like let's say I want to scroll down through it. If I just delete these first couple of rows, what I can do is just kind of go ahead and lock these first couple. So I freeze those panes. Now notice these up top have been locked. Maybe you want the years in bold or something like that so you can view it easier. I mean, I don't need to give you guys an Excel lesson. Y'all know how to use this stuff. But that's it. That's the full 30-year data, and you can do with it as you wish and chart it as you wish. You know, if you want to look at, let's say, revenue, I'll just give you one quick example and we'll go back. So let's look at revenue here. If we highlight the revenue row, insert, find a chart, and then boom, we've instantly got a, whoops. Move that thing around on us. Now we've got an instant revenue chart here. We can change the design of it to look at this data over multiple years, right? But it's much easier generally to do this on the web page. Now, I said there's two ways to view the 30-year data. That's the first. Download it all, it's raw, you know, digest it, put it into your software, or, you know, create your own charts with it. The other way is with the interactive chart. So most of us are familiar with the interactive charts. I love them because it's as far as I know, the only charts out there that aren't designed for technical analysis. They're actually designed for fundamentals, which is great. So if you go to the interactive chart, in this case for General Electric, you'll notice this data goes back at least 30 years. In our case, we've got it going back to 1970. So we're looking at 47 years of data for General Electric, and that's kind of GuruFocus under-promising and over-delivering. If we have access to more data, we're going to give it to you. And so, for instance, you can plot revenue, the fundamentals. Oftentimes, you know, we're going to give you 30 full years. If we have price data going further, you'll see that. But we can plot revenue all the way back from March of, where were we? September of 1987 up to today. We can track the price to sales ratio, that same full time period. If you want to cut some of this chart off, you know, just go up here and make the date. The last 30 years would have been 1987. And then boom, we trim this chart down to 30 years. But all that 30-year data is harnessed within the interactive charts. So you don't need to go through the Excel file and find it all manually. All right, so that's the second way you can view this information. Now let's go over a few other things in the 30-year financials I want you guys to be aware of. Some of you may be, some of you aren't. If you are new to this stuff especially, I think you're going to find a few of these tools and tricks useful. Now one of them is the jump to functions, right? This is a lot of data. Right below the first chart, you'll see a few headlines here. That's per share data, ratios, income statement, etc. Each one of these, by clicking them, will jump to that section of the data. So it's just as simple as, let's see, the cash flow statement, boom, we jump right down to the cash flow statement. You want to see the valuation and quality, boom, right down there to the bottom, valuation and quality. Okay, so that's number one. The second thing is, I talked about, you know, we looked at this Excel download. I was trying to plot revenue. It doesn't look great. It is not pretty. I'm not an Excel master. But we have a lot of these functions built into the GuruFocus 30-year financial page. Any one of these line items, anywhere on this sheet, you can click to chart. And you literally just hover over Notice that row gets yellow. Click on it, and you're going to see this data charted with both quarterly data and annual data. And to close it, simply hit the little X in the top right corner. To close it back, you can scroll to something else. If we want to look at revenue, just as easy. And again, we're getting the full 30 years of data on this chart. It's not limited to the 15 you're seeing there. You can get more options, right? Once we have this information, you can say, oh, that's a really cool chart. I need to save that. Click Save. And it immediately saves this image to your computer. Now, one of the other things, if you are an Excel master and you like using the GuruFocus, add-ins and the plugins to kind of pull the data off the website and do it on your own, a lot of these Excel functions are given to you right here in the 30-year financial page. So you'll notice when you click one of the line items, you see the charts. You're also seeing on the right side, retrieve data through Excel function. These are those functions that you can use. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, you'll probably never use this. But if you are a master Excel user and you do know what I'm talking about, essentially what this is a way for you to build a file in Excel that lets you type in a ticker symbol, click a button, and it pulls all that data into your Excel file for you, right? So you can make it with, pretty charts and laid out the way you want. But to do that, you have to have these functionality codes applied to that, and this is where you can find those. It's for any one of these line items that is retrievable through Excel. So annual data, fiscal quarter data, current data, etc. That's how you access all of that. So a pretty neat trick for the advanced Excel users out there. Another thing that is often useful to people, especially newer investors, but even seasoned investors, is we have clickable definitions and explanations throughout. So any term you see, this is ROC by Joel Greenblatt. I happen to know that means return on capital because I've read Greenblatt's books. If you don't, just click on it, and it's going to take you to a page that explains what that is. So it's going to show you what the return on capital is for the company you were looking at. He's going to explain it here in the definition. You immediately see, the range of where this has been over the last 10 years, how it's ranked compared to others. You're getting, those same annual and quarterly charts on the line item over here. You're going to get a plot comparison versus its major competitors and where it stands. You have a full definition for the computer nerds out there. It's actually showing you, how these figures are calculated. Letting you kind of look behind the curtain, so to speak, see how this data lands on that web page. So it's an extremely complete definition and explanation. Also has some related terms here that you may trip over, that one stuff. You'll see the full dictionary here on the left side of the screen. And you can search this as well. But the easiest thing to do, like I said, is just if you come across something you don't know, just click on it, and it will take you to a link that explains the term and gives you a definition and shows it in action. So great question, Paul. Paul asked if there's any plans on making the Excel add-in compatible with Excel for Mac. I asked Charlie the same thing because I'm a Mac guy myself. The answer I got is it's a lot harder to do this stuff for a Mac because of the way they have permissions set up. So at this time, I don't think it's a project in the works. Could be something coming in the future. Paul, what I'm actually looking at doing is getting a program called Boot Camp, which allows you to run your Mac, run Windows on your Mac, just for the purpose of when I need to use these Excel spreadsheets. But not the answer you're looking for, but unfortunately this is mainly for PC users. But good question. One other thing I want to show you on the 30-year financial history here, if you scroll down to the bottom, we've actually added links for the most recent SEC filings from that company, the big ones, the quarterly and annual reports, right? Not every time the CEO picks up 100 shares, but the last 4 quarterly reports. So if you see 10Q, just so you guys know, 10Q is a quarterly report, and 10K is the big annual report. But we actually host these on the GuruFocus website, so once again, you don't have to leave. And if you ever go onto the SEC's Edgar system and tried to find these for yourself, is a nightmare. You simply click on the link, and it's going to redirect you to that full SEC filing report hosted here on the GuruFocus site. And this is what these look like. This is the actual financial statements that are turned into the SEC. And this is it. This is the most recent quarterly filing from General Electric. Some of these images are taking a second to come in, but they're all in there. There's the full data from them. So that's a nice little feature that allows you to kind of jump to those without having to dig through another website. Oh, okay. Thanks, Paul. That's good advice. But yeah, that's the 30-year financials. So the big takeaways from this, look, it's been 10-year financials for as long as for many years, basically since GuruFocus was in existence. So we've upped it in 2 ways. One, we've given you 15 years here on the main page, and there's 30 years you can access a couple of different ways. One is to download it in Excel or as a CSV file. The other is these line item clicks that actually plot the data over 30 years. And then the third way is through the interactive chart. If you go to the interactive chart of the stock, you want to look at revenue or earnings per share or margin rates. It will plot that over the full 30 years of data that we have to avoid you having to dig through an Excel file like this. Now, one other thing I'm not sure if you guys have seen, because I just learned this, these pages here, so like when we're on a stock, we're on General Electric, we have several tabs, right? We've got your analysis tab, we have the interactive chart, the discount cash flow, the Guru trades, right? But you can download all of that as a PDF. So all you have to do is on the 30-year financial page, click PDF right here. And what that's going to do is download for you a full PDF run of all this information. It's automatically popped up on the screen. We've got everything, right? This is from the summary page, the strength, the profitability, the valuation ratios. It's like the manual of stocks on steroids. The manual of stocks is a one-page summary of that company. This is everything, just download as a PDF. But it literally has all of it, all the per share data, the 30-year financials, the income statement, balance sheet, cash flow statement. It's got everything. So if you want a bigger file and a little more detail, that's a quick way to get it. That's just the stock PDF versus a manual of stocks, but just something to share with you. So what other questions do we have? We've covered the manual of stocks, what it's used for, how to use it, how to get the best use out of it, viewing it as a web app or as a download, how to go through it and pull versus sectors or countries or market caps, how to use the screener to create a custom manual you can download. In the 30-year financials, we've covered all the different features within that, how to access 30 years of data, how to get the Excel data. Charmaine, there's not really any information on management in the summary. What type of information are you looking for? Charmaine, you got a great question because you read a lot in these value books that you want top-level management and managers who understand the business, and these are things that are really difficult for retail traders like ourselves to find. If you're managing $20 billion, you can call the CEO and sit down with them. If you have a $50,000 stock account, you can't. So there's various ways to judge management, strictly looking at the data. One of them is, return on invested capital, ROIC. What kind of return is he generating with investors' money? Another is, are they generating strong free cash flow, and what are they doing with it, right? A lot of questions are arising right now on Apple's Tim Cook because the guy has $250 billion in cash sitting offshore doing nothing. And a lot of investors are wondering, hey, I own a piece of that money. Why aren't you putting it to use? Or, either give it back to me in the form of a dividend or put it to work. It's just sitting there. So those are kind of some of the ways you can judge management, looking at the numbers. Yeah. Okay. So Charmaine, as far as who is he and how long has he been there and that kind of a thing, it's not in the manual stocks. These summaries. Sometimes on the summary you'll see. Let's scroll through here on the company summary. Sometimes they're mentioned here. If the gurus had mentioned them in their last statements, but no, there's generally not a lot. There is news stories surrounding the company, and you'll see that over here on the right side. It's not just from GuruFocus. It mines articles and data from other sources. But no, to answer your question, there's not data. There's not a list of say these are the executives. Here's how long they've been there. That kind of thing. Good question, Bruce. How come the all-in-one screener does not have a return on capital hot button for a screener? Everyone's got something that's important to them, I think, for the screeners. And if you create too many hot buttons and too many kind of quick rundowns, it becomes a bit overwhelming. So I think you just got to shut the list off somewhere. But it's very easy to build a screen for the return on invested capital, save that as one of your user-defined screens, and quickly jump back to it. How do you turn off messages that pop up on the website? The tags cover the web page, make it hard to see information. Peter, what pop-ups are you seeing? Is it one telling you to log in or sign up, or is it one saying like a GuruFocus alert of some story? And yes, Charmaine, you're correct. You can get the information on the executives from the annual shareholder letters if you want to scroll through there to find it. Chat box comes in the way. Okay, so for the chat box, this is a live chat with straight to GuruFocus. So if you have a question, you can get it answered in real time, which I think is amazing. Literally, you're getting Charlie Tian, who is the founder and architect of GuruFocus, answering your questions some of the time. You can type it right in. As far as it being a box, just keep it minimized. It shouldn't really get in your way for the most part. You can change your browser settings to avoid certain pop-ups, but company tags. Yeah, I assume, Peter, you're talking about this. So, Peter, I'm trying to answer your question. Pop-ups with info about the company. I'm not sure what exactly you're seeing. If you would, just screenshot it, email it to support@gurufocus.com. We'll gladly take a look at it, or just hop on the GuruFocus chat support there, type in your question. One of our technicians can answer it for you. It's just hard for me to know what it is without seeing it. Now, if you're talking about the news flashes that pop up, what he's referring to is sometimes, so browsers now have a function where you can allow direct pop-ups or notifications from certain websites, and it'll pop up like right here. And you might be on Yahoo, and then one pops up from GuruFocus or someone else you allowed, right? You can remove those in your browser. It's not a function of the GuruFocus website that you'll change. You'll actually go to your browser settings, and it depends what you're using. This is Safari. You could be using any number. but there's a section that'll show notifications, and it'll have listed the sites that have tried to offer you notifications and whether you've allowed or blocked those. Just block all of them if you want, and you won't get those anymore. Thank you, Bruce. I appreciate that. A lot of good questions. Keep them coming. If you have anything else you want to know, I'm happy to show you anything here on the website. Again, these webinars we're doing, we're not trying to sell you anything. We have nothing to offer you unless you're not a subscriber to GuruFocus. We want you to have, you know, the most complete understanding of the tools and functionality of it to let you make a more informed decision. If you're already a member, these are simply tutorials for you to get the most out of the product. And we appreciate you subscribing to us. And we want you to get that value back. All right. Let's see. Jason, is there a summary for the moat other than financials? There is not a summary for the moat. You know, again, what you'd have to do is literally go through each company one at a time, understand what they do, figure out what their moat is, and then type it up. It's not really a quantifiable piece of information, if that makes sense. One tool, you may already know this, for identifying moats is looking at a company's margins. Right, and the thought is this: if you make, let's take Apple for example, they make, I mean, their main product is the iPhone, right? Their main product, the big cash cow, is their cell phone, and it's been huge. Now, if other companies could come in, build an iPhone killer that was just as good or better, they would, you know, so let's say Apple sold it at 500, they'd sell it at 400 and sell more of them. Apple would have to bring their price down, et cetera, to match, and their margin would go down. The idea is if a company can increase their sales while maintaining the same margin, so in other words, they can sell more but not have to lower their price to do it, then they've got a strong moat. So one easy way to look at that is to scroll down here at, you know, let's say operating margins or gross margins and chart that. And if it's fairly flat or growing, you've generally got a moat. And if we look here at Apple, especially since, let's call it 2001, their operating margin has essentially been climbing like crazy. Right, it went from just being barely negative to, you know, what 35%, which is huge. Now it's trailed down the last couple of years, maybe losing part of their moat. But that's a quick and dirty way to find out if a company has a moat or not. Look at their margins. Charmaine, if you missed the back test tutorial, you should have received an email with a link to it from GuruFocus. If not, just go to YouTube, search GuruFocus. You'll find our channel, and we put all of these tutorial webinars on there so that you can review them later. And Ignacio, if you're looking for ways to do screens based on mathematical formulas, I'll show you really quickly. I would encourage you to watch that same tutorial video. But here's how you do it in the all-in-one screener. You look up here at the top and notice we've added something called a customized option right there. That's where you are going to enter in your custom formulas. And all you have to do is go here, click create new filter. And for instance, you wanted to look at EBITDA divided by enterprise value. So just start typing. And there's EBITDA. And then you would just do divided by enterprise value, you said. And you would just name this whatever you want. and then hit save. And now you have a custom filter built in. So as you're using the scanner and you've got all these other functions, just go to your Customize tab. Here's your EBITDA or enterprise value. Select your minimum and maximum, and it'll be applied to your results just like any other metric would. All right. Okay, well, I appreciate everyone joining this afternoon. Hopefully you got a lot out of this. Again, the goal is just to show you the tools and resources you have at your disposal. If you are not yet a member and want to try it out, we do offer a free 7-day trial of our Premium Plus membership, which will give you access to everything. Just go to gurufocus.com/membership. If you've not registered, you may have to register, but just sign up for the trial, run it through the paces for a week, see what you think of it. If it's something that adds a lot of value to your life and is going to help you become a better investor, great, subscribe to it. If not, we're happy to have you as a free user. We enjoy being able to offer our service to you in the same regard. So thanks a lot. Everybody have a great rest of your day, and we will see you next week for our next tutorial webinar.